Welcome to Do You Believe on LiveSciFi.tv. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Now, we have an awesome show tonight. I'm so excited. Our guests are Mark and Debbie Constantino, who are the EVP experts, and actually, they are the best in their field. And then after we talk with, hi Debbie and Mark, and after I talk with Debbie and Mark, we have something extra special. We're going to be doing with Mark and Debbie, we're going to be doing a remote EVP session with Tim Wood, the owner of the most haunted, documented, extreme haunted house in America called the Wells House, located in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Now, and what you'd like to do, if you'd like to check out the website before we start talking with Tim, his website is www.wells, and that's WELLES house.com. And you can check out the history on that house, and the house is extremely haunted, and it is documented. Now tonight, before we do that remote EVP session, like I said, our guest is Mark and Debbie Constantino, and I'm just thrilled to have them on the show with us. Welcome, Debbie and Mark.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Now, Debbie and Mark, like I said, are EVP specialists, and they are the best in their field. And EVP stands for...
The check's in the mail.
Oh,
The check's in the mail. Thank you.
you're welcome. And EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena. And they have been showcased on Ghost Adventures, Paranormal State, and Dead Famous. And with that, Debbie and Mark, welcome to the show. Would you like to tell any more information about yourself to the viewers?
Pretty basically, I was born sensitive. I saw as a child. That's kind of a hard question. We just got kind of developed an EVP because I would see things in the house. Mark kind of didn't see it for the first 6 years of marriage. So I decided, well, why not, do my homework, go to events, learn the best I can, find the best equipment out there, and, do what they said to do. And it worked. And every time I thought I saw something, we recorded in the house, which I do not recommend because you will open up a portal. But in doing so, every time I thought I saw something, we'd get a clear voice back. So to me, EVP is the most addictive part of the paranormal because you're getting a response, you're getting answers to questions before you even ask the question. I mean, it's undeniable.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It's the most immediate, it gives you the most immediate gratification, especially
Exactly.
when you ask a question and you get an intelligent response.
Because the way Mark and I do it, we'll do a 1-minute blast, play it back a minute later, using 2 different recorders, generally yielding 2 different responses on each recorder, and playing it back like a minute later. So you're almost talking real time.
One
Right.
other thing, viewers, Mark and Debbie Constantino's website is www.spirits-speak.com. Now, Debbie and Mark, can you tell me, it's a 2-part question, why and when did you get involved in this EVP recording?
I would say now we're probably looking at, it's probably been about 12 years, I would say. We're always looking for different ways, to communicate. And we heard about EVP, so like Debbie said, we kind of tried to figure out a little bit about it. And what happened was Debbie just said what we're going to do. She did most of it in the beginning.
I did all of it in the beginning.
Was she was gonna, we audibly told whoever could hear us that we were gonna record in the morning and at night, and we were gonna give it 30 days. 3 months. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I actually put a sticky back on the calendar. I did my homework. I knew I had the right equipment. I knew I had the right education. I Googled everything I could, and I kind of looked at it like a diet. Like, okay, I'm going to lose 14 pounds in 14 days if I exercise, eat this, this, and this. So what I did was we told the spirits, okay, I'm going to record a minute in the morning, a minute at night, and I actually put a sticky back on my calendar at the 3-month period. Got nothing, nothing. Right about the 3-month period, that morning I heard what sounded like if you had an analog recorder and the tape broke and you hear it flipping around in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it made that kind of noise. So I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. The 3-month period, I did everything I'm supposed to do. Now I have a broken recorder. So that evening, I thought about it. And I said, you know what? Was that actually, portals are said to make a windy sound. So I said, actually, was that a portal opening? Was that what I heard? Clear as day, Class A, louder than my voice. It said, I don't know, was the response.
Wow.
Yeah, we still keep that in our PowerPoint. It was so powerful and so clear. And the way I look at it, if the results are that tangible, that clear, and that immediate, the way I look at it is I keep kind of a psychic doorstop open, or at least we try to, in recording at least every 3 days, just to keep, it's kind of like, I look at it like a pudding, and you don't want that skin to grow over the pudding. You want to keep it nice and soft and open. Mm-hmm. I know that's probably the worst analogy I can think of, but if that makes sense to you.
Well, not really. I actually like the skin on the top of the pudding.
Well, of course he does, because he's just got to be difficult. But I mean, that makes sense. You just want to keep everything pliable and open.
Now, which one of you get more of the EVPs, more of the spirit communication?
I do, of course.
All right, yeah.
No, that's kind of a hard question because it depends. And also what we do is we change the settings on the recorders. So he can have a recorder on, 2 setting. I can have one on 5 setting. It just depends on what they're coming in at. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we probably both get the same amount.
So,
depending on the place.
Do you always do your EVP sessions together, or does one go in one room and one in the other?
No, we
stay together.
And
because
sometimes I'm at home alone and I do it,
Because that's also a form of validation.
Well, not only that.
When you're picking up one EVP on one recorder and you're not picking it up on the other recorder, then that it wasn't something that was actually said in the room, or somebody's stomach growling or something like that. So we always are together. We use the same recorders, and we play back right in front of the people as soon as we get done recording. And I think that's what separates us from almost everybody else in the EVP field.
And also, if I can add something real quick, Mark and I have different ears. Like, he'll hear different tones than I hear. So he'll say, okay, I heard, front door. And then I'll say, well, I heard front door, someone there. And then you can put the sentence together like that. Then we'll kind of not jade each other, but figure out exactly what they're saying. We do.
I know. I've seen you on Ghost Adventures, and what you pick up is unbelievable. And your ears, you're so in tune to that. And
it's
I think...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I'm just thinking, I guess, because you've done it for so long, that you can pick up more than what the average person can hear.
Right.
It's almost like hearing a different language. You just train your ear, and it's, you're really speaking dead, and you're really hearing dead. And after so many years, it's easier to hear the tone.
Right. And I think that's the most important part of EVP, if that's what you want to get into, is training your ear to hear, EVP, because, everybody assumes, okay, if we're going to do an EVP session, we're going to hear voices just like we're talking right now. And one time in 100, you will get one that's that clear, but the majority of the time they're not. So training your ear to listen at different times and for different things is probably the most important part of what we do.
Okay.
And basically, I mean, we are really diligent at what we do, and I think we've over the years formed a bond. But to be honest with you, they're the ones that are doing all the work.
You got to realize that they don't have to talk to you.
Right.
And that we don't provoke. I leave food for them. I'll leave them coffee in the morning. I mean, this isn't an everyday thing. But, we found out through Native Americans that, we've had a shaman at our house. We've, been blessed in so many different venues of how the paranormal works. We treat them with the same respect, we'd like. Unless you get a nasty one that says F you, well, then they get turned off and thrown out of the house, supposedly. But
Now,
I think, like,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I think like the most important thing, what you were saying before, is in us hearing differently and figuring out what they're saying. Um, Developing your ear is really the most important, because if they hear that you got it, believe the room will get colder. They will call their friends in. They'll be like, "Oh my God, they heard what we said," and they will try harder on their side while we're trying harder on our side. And developing your ear is really crucial in this, because they need to know you're figuring it out. In order, why waste their time working with you if you're not hearing what they're saying? That's
Now,
my theory.
now for the viewers, Debbie and Mark, who don't know about EVP sessions and traditionally how normally paranormal groups do or a recording of EVP sessions, can you want to tell the viewers what the traditional way is, and then compared to your way?
To be honest with you, we've never been a member of any group. We've worked with your group, we work with different groups, but we've always done it our way. We've never been members of any other group. And I think traditionally the way it was just to kind of leave a recorder in the room, go back, review it 2 weeks later. And then, as I said before, the way I got started was I would definitely see something. And, when I saw it, I had to prove to him, or I had to prove it to myself too, because he really didn't believe me. And so I'd record and get a, direct communication. And, to me, I guess that's what got the ball rolling.
Well, that's not true that I didn't believe her. I just wasn't
He never
witnessing.
experienced anything
Right.
for 6 years.
And that's what I was saying. What separates us is that the majority of people that record for EVP will go to a haunted location, put a recorder down on the table, and then walk away and come back an hour later, and then listen to it 2 weeks later at home. But what Debbie and I do is we do interactive EVP sessions. We do it right in front of people. We'll ask the questions, and then we'll go from hitting the record button to hitting the play button right there on the spot, because we're looking for the direct communication. We're looking for the interactive EVP. That's part of our thing is, if we can help them, okay? If you get an EVP and it says help me, you can say, how can we help you? Because if we can understand what you're saying, we will try to help you. But if you put your recorder down and listen 2 weeks later and you hear an EVP and it says help me, you're not doing anybody any good. You're not doing yourself any good, and you're not doing the spirits we don't know how hard it is for the spirits to come through. And if the spirit says help me and you hear it 2 weeks later, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
it's
how
the
can
interactiveness that we're after.
But how
and
can
that's what separates us.
But how can you help them? In which way?
Well, a lot of times they do say pray for us. And we don't know. A lot of times maybe it's like karmic, or they don't know how we can help them, or they're paying off dues, or they are in purgatory. I question too whether or not we get some EVP that is so clear, and some instances happen that just you can't blame on ghosts, like it's a higher intelligence. That I question whether or not sometimes we're not even communicating with aliens.
Oh my God! Really?
Well, we don't.
I've actually contacted MUFON.
Wow, something really weird's happening to my ear right now.
Well, yeah, of course, because I'm talking. But I've actually I've seen some things that I know. I'm not saying it's bad, good, bad, or indifferent, but I've just assumed that they were elementals, or definitely not human. I've had enough glimpses and seen them enough times. From the Wolf Manor to my own home to something that I've only seen it one time, and it was in this house, but I didn't know what it was. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It almost looked like a burn victim. And it was, and then as we were up like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching the show. I think it was UFOs over Earth or something like that. And we hardly ever watch alien stuff.
Yeah.
But everything in this show jived with what I saw. So much so that I called this group and I'm explaining what happened. And he's like, well, since you do see in other realms, perhaps it was just walking through or doing this or doing that. But I guess it just depends who you talk to. If you talk to Bigfoot people, probably Bigfoot. Ghost people, it's probably ghost.
It's really all a big mystery, and I think there are certain times where you might get a help me, and it may be a spirit that is just lost. Maybe doesn't realize where the spirit is. Maybe he's just seeing blackness, and he's just saying, "Help me," but he doesn't really know how he can be helped. He's just reaching out.
Or maybe he doesn't know he's dead.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, my body's there, I'm here, I don't get this.
Right, or just reaching out to say, help me, because he's totally confused. It's kind of like if you spend your whole life as an atheist or somebody that believes that when you pass away, you get buried, you turn into dust, and it's all over.
Yeah.
And then guess what?
What?
You passed away, and then you find out that there's another side. You are going to be one confused person.
Okay, so I want to ask you then. So because you see spirit and because of all these EVP recordings that you get, is that proof enough for to show that there is an afterlife?
Oh, absolutely. I know there's an afterlife. I have no question. I've been seeing the dead since I was a child. And I mean, there is no question. I've been into it when it was so unfashionable to be into it. My dad was sensitive. He would steal books from the library on poltergeist, put them behind the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I'd pull it out and I'd be like, well, what's this, Daddy? This book's 20 years old. Don't worry about it. Just keep it back there, because you couldn't talk about it back then. I have no clue. I mean, I have no clue what we're dealing with, but I have absolutely no doubt that there's spirits.
Right, and I have no doubt that there's an afterlife. I mean, we've been in communication with our daughter that passed away when she was 6 months old. We've been in communication with Debbie's dad. There is absolutely, in our minds, no question.
Okay, I want to ask you then. Do you get? How do you know you have contacted these people? How do you know? How do you know it's just not a spirit that's trying to?
Them?
Yeah.
You don't. You really don't. And the reason why Mark said, we contacted our daughter, her name was Sienna, and there was a recording, and in the beginning it sounds like my voice. So it says, "This is Sienna," in the beginning, and then it goes to an adolescent voice, and it says, "Please record it." But it sounded so much like my voice in the beginning. 6 months went by, and I'm all, that's not Sienna, that's not Sienna. Now, what you must realize is she was 6 months when she passed away, so she could not speak. But it was the message that was sent across. This is Sienna. And then it went to an adolescent voice, "Please record it." Now, since she was my daughter, she would have half of my vocal cords, and she might sound like me. Exactly. Now, that one I don't know. The other one I had was my dad. Now, my dad had an accent. He had missing teeth. And he called my daughter Alicia. That's how he would pronounce it. Mm-hmm. I had already edited this EVP. There was absolutely nothing in the beginning. There was an EVP impressed on it after I edited it. When I went back to listen back, and you clearly hear, and I believe it's on our website, Alicia. It is so clear and so much louder than my voice that my mother actually heard it, who is, kind of, sort of, she's a non-believer, but she heard that and she's like, well, how'd you get your father? He's been dead for this long.
Oh
God.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so her father's voice.
And my mother will even, on their anniversary, she will say, well, where's that little recorder? Can you get it out and see if you can get your father? Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, my feeling is too, if it leaves you in a good state, if it leaves you with a sense of closure, like that spirit's doing well, or, this is Sienna, please record it. It made me kind of feel like maybe she's proud of what we're doing. We're not provoking. We're proving there's another side. We're proving that, hey, it might be a good idea to be spiritual and do things on this side, because sooner or later you're going to be on that side, and then you're going to have a price to pay.
You know, they say that some believe that the spirits that you contact through your EVP recordings could possibly be spirits that are stuck here or earthbound, that they can't move on. With all the work that you've done, do you believe that that's true?
I believe partly. Yeah, I believe, especially in suicides and things like that, I believe that they do it so quickly and resent it as soon as it's done. And, say you're Catholic and you believe it's a cardinal sin. Then you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? I can't take it back now. It's done. I could walk through that door, but now if I walk through that door, I'm afraid I'm going to get punished. And I think maybe they make themselves earthbound. Or maybe at the point when you die, you kind of figurate with God or your highest self. And this is just my theory. And then you look at, and maybe you resonate and feel how you've hurt others or the sins you've done. And maybe when you're with God at that point, you feel so much guilt that either maybe you don't feel deserving to go to heaven, or maybe you feel you're damned to go to hell. And maybe that's one reason. I also think, sudden death, when people don't realize they're dead and try to get back in their body, I think, it's all part of that. I also do believe that, in purgatory, in some cases, I'm saying it's different for every spirit, but how do we know? Maybe we do. We've paid this much karma. Okay, well, you're going to have to stay here for this much longer and burn off your time, kind of like a prison. And then once your sentence is over, you get to go up.
So when you do your EVP sessions, maybe at home, in the privacy of your own home or somewhere, some location where you're not with other people, do you ever try to communicate on the other side if there is a God or if there is a heaven, or what happens to us when we die?
That's always my question. We've gotten different levels. Who are we speaking with? We've gotten level 5, level 7. We've gotten the word heaven quite often. I think we just got that last night, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we recorded last night, and we got the word. If I remember right, I think we asked, and they said we're not in heaven.
No. But that would tell me there is a heaven. That perhaps they haven't made it there yet. We ask saints names.
We've gotten a whole bunch of different responses as far as, I mean, we go as far as saying, can you tell me, are you guys dead or are we dead?
Well, that actually we got from Aaron Goodwin.
Right, but I mean, is this whole thing we're going through unknowingly to us an experiment on us? Are we actually dead?
And what did they say?
We've got.
Well, actually, Aaron Goodwin started that question, but it's such a good question that we ask every time.
It is.
Sometimes they see different responses. I think I don't really remember exactly.
I think the majority of the time, it's them saying we get a lot of "I'm dead" or "we're dead."
Yeah, they do say that a lot.
They know a lot of times. They know that, at least that's what they're telling us.
Oh yeah, this is a perfect example. I'm on the porch one time and we smoke outside, and I'm recording by myself. And I say, is there anybody out here? And this really grumpy guy gets back and he goes, F you, I'm here, da da da. And so I was like, well, why are you being so mean? And he goes, I'm dead. So I said, well, your body might be dead, but clearly you're alive because you're talking to me. And as the conversation went on, it was like amazing. I'm sitting there on my porch with nobody there. The man actually got nicer.
Really?
Kind of like sitting next to a grumpy man on a bus.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden you're nice to him, and you're kind of, and I'm like, well, I don't know what this place was, but it's now my porch. You're welcome to be here. You can't talk to me like that. And it was kind of almost like a counseling session. But it was the coolest thing, and I will never forget that. A lot of times too, they'll be shocked that you're talking to them, because one Christmas we recorded, and that's the only time I try to get my daughter, because I've always heard on a holy holiday they won't get stuck, between planes. And what was the one we got? I'm dead. It was very clear.
Oh my God.
And Do you remember what it was? It was
Yeah,
a very clear one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was actually our daughter Alyssa that asked the question. But I don't exactly remember what the EVP was, because you're going back probably 8 years now.
Yeah, but a lot of times too, they'll be shocked that we hear what they say. And this morning we just got one before we talked to you, and we were on the porch, and they said, almost like we're living people. Like, how are they communicating with us? They're alive. That's kind of what I took from it.
Oh, well, or they probably were with somebody else, and they were like a group of people talking.
No. It was like they were talking about us.
Yeah, exactly. They're on the other side. The spirits were there was a couple of them there then, probably talking about you guys.
Right, they were referring to us as people.
Oh my
like,
God.
Maybe they call living people. Who knows? You know.
Now,
and not only that, I know when we were recording this morning out on the porch, it sounded to us like we got an EVP that said, "I want you dead."
Yeah, we get that a lot.
We get that a lot.
Why do you think they say that? Why do you think they say that?
You know, I think that the places we've gone to, this is why I do not recommend recording at home at all. We are just, you know, there's a point to where you can clean your carpet so many times. There's a time you need new carpet. We're at that point. But I refuse, you know, we've had the house cleaned. I just refuse to be afraid. I think fear is the opposite of faith. And I feel like this is my calling. I think a lot of what we've done is go to such heinous locations. Bobby Mackey's, a lady was beheaded. You know, ritual murders, voodoo places. We've gone to the Myrtles Plantation. A lot of these places, they do follow you home. I don't care. They do, and they will whether you see them or not. Generally, my theory is they leave after 2 or 3 days, and they're kind of drawn back to where they're used to. But then there's others that stay. Now, when you turn on that recorder or any other device, if you're doing it in your own home, in your sanctuary, you'll get a lot of ghosts, a lot of good spirits, but you're opening a door that anybody of vagrant can crawl through. Now, we have no clue what kind of vagrants there are on that side. Mm-hmm. You know, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. Elementals, Bigfoot, aliens, jinn. Now, jinn is something I just learned about in the past 2 years. But how do we know what's beneath that ice cube? I mean, we're only seeing the tip of what's out there. Mm-hmm. Iceberg, okay. Yeah. But, you know what I mean? Yeah. And how do you deal with it? And another thing, too, is I equate it to being a snake handler. You're dealing with different snakes. Some are venomous, some are not venomous. I was raised in a haunted house. Perhaps I've been bitten so many times that I've actually built up an anti-venom to certain things, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know, being a child, not being able to move out, having no one to turn to. And, you know I was the point of interest growing up as a kid.
And just real quick also, you know, when you pass on, you know, why would anybody think that if there's an afterlife, your personality doesn't go with you? Because it's your soul. It's your soul that carries on. Your physical body just dies. And your soul is your personality. Your soul is who you are. So to think that doesn't continue on with you, because your soul is what makes you different from me.
But then
my heart's the same as your heart. My lungs work the same as your lungs. But it's the soul that makes us different.
Well, then what happens to people that are rotten on Earth? Then they're rotten on the afterlife, and do the other nice spirits want to hang around with that rotten spirit?
You know, that's absolutely a very good point.
And that might be why we get EVP saying, "I want you dead," or "help me," or "F off."
Well, you know, also I think there's different dimensions. And a dear friend, Tommy Durant, actually gave me this information. His belief is he's, you know, I don't know if he'd consider himself a demonologist, but he's quite knowledgeable. And he said what happens is you have ghosts in your house, and there's other spirits in the house that actually feed off those spirits. They're actually being harvested. So, I mean, we don't know and, you know, going back to the question earlier, you know, how do we know if this person never believed in ghosts, never considered themselves psychic, now they're dead, now all of a sudden they're looking into another dimension, seeing some hideous creature, saying, "Oh my God, this is real. I mean, that would be a good reply to say, help me. We've
Yeah.
got an EVP on our stairwell that was incredible. You hear one spirit. Oh, do you remember the face one? Oh, come on.
Oh,
Oh, it's a good one.
um,
Oh, you hear two spirits talking.
a female spirit says something, and then
No,
the
she
other
says
spirit
you.
says, "Ooh, the face." Oh, you can
hear,
banish it.
yeah, you can hear a woman clearly saying it. You can banish it, and then you hear a moan like, whoa. And then you
Really?
hear another spirit come in and say, ooh, the face. Like the face scared the spirit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and this was in my stairwell in the house we're talking in right now. So.
And you know, Debbie has to me like a perfect analogy. You know, we know there's different levels out there, different realms. You know, and some of them, you know, have never been human. And she has an analogy, and it's kind of like, okay, say somebody ends up coming into our realm and sees us, and then it's say it's a child or something. We don't see them, but they see us, and all of a sudden they run home, wherever their home is, and they're like to their mother and father, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. I saw somebody today, and they had something called skin, and they had
that's
something." I just said Debbie had the analogy.
I know. He likes to steal my stuff.
Well, wait. Didn't I start this
Yes,
off
you
with
did.
Debbie
Yes,
had
you
the
did.
analogy? Debbie's got to be the control.
All right, come on, Mark.
But it's a perfect kind of.
It is. Well, the way I did it was we saw this hideous thing in the house, and we would hear something. My daughter was young. I had called out of work. We both had the flu. And I think when you're sick, you're more susceptible because you're more trancy. So he was over the road. I'm sitting there with my daughter. We had a cup of tea. We heard somebody whistle a song out of this closed office, whistle a tune. And we were both like, oh my God, my daughter had to be no more than 11. So we go in there, and we were always afraid of this door. So every time we went past the door, the analogy I gave her is, well, Rocky, you have braces. Maybe they saw your teeth, and maybe they're just as scared of you as you are of them. So every time we walked past this door, we'd open it up, and we'd jump in, and we'd say, boo. And we kind of made it, we'd like make a game out of it, so she wouldn't be afraid, and it kind of broke to that fear level.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you believe?
Go ahead.
Do you believe in demons?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that I want to kind of venture in my research. We're actually going to be doing the Valeska Axe Murder House,
God.
which is something, oh my God, it has been on my to-do list forever. And, you know, my thing is, it's my belief with suicides or whatever sick person did this, I believe there's a demon behind that feeding off it. Whether it be a suicide, say, you know, swing the axe, pull the trigger. I think for those few moments, there's definitely some kind of energy feeding off that. I think, you know, bag people that are sitting there talking to themselves. I tell Mark all the time, let's get him a Happy Meal, a pack of cigarettes, and a shot of, you know, airplane whiskey, and say, listen, this is for you. Do you mind if I record your conversation? Because I have no doubt, you know, if you were to record them, you'd be hearing the whole conversation back and forth.
I mean, not to minimize, there's certainly mental illness.
Yeah, I'm saying there's mental illness, but even then, my belief is it starts from somewhere. Whether it be a negative feeling, everything starts from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's a theory out there, too, that, you know, I know this is kind of out there, but time and illness is all an illusion. It's all, you know, we are born in this body. We have this thing called time. We have this structure to where, okay, we have to be at this situation. I have to be at my job at this time. So we've kind of constricted our reality into time. And, you know, but I think, you know, you are what you think, and faith healers and all that. And I believe if your faith is strong enough, but you know, I think our society gives into hospitals and insurance and this and that, and all these incurable things on how everyone can make money, and there's a rehab for this and a rehab for that. I think kind of like if you look at monks in the Himalayas, and they're kind of sitting in this cave meditating, and gurus and all that. I think there's something to be said for, disease being an illusion.
So you said doing EVP recordings in your own home is dangerous? You feel that's dangerous?
Well, yeah, over the years, I think we've we've come to that conclusion because, like Debbie was saying, once you open that door, you really have no control over who walks in. And we've, not only us, but people that are in this field for the right reasons have gone through, have paid a personal price for this passion called the paranormal. I know we have gone through, we have certainly paid a price over the years for doing what we do.
Also, too, I want
price.
Well, yeah, but I think too, we're putting out there in our lectures. I don't care if you believe me or not. This is what happened to me. I believe they get into your thoughts. They make you paranoid. They get into your thought process. I believe in demons. I believe in evil. And we're sitting here talking in front of 200 people saying what demons do. So what would they want to do? Shut us up because they don't want anybody to know. So, being that we do pray for ghosts, we do pray for the dead, we are in it for the right reasons. Why wouldn't some evil want us that can, have been on TV, can reach many people, let out their filthy little secret? You know what I mean?
When you go into a location and you do your EVP recordings, do you protect yourself or say a prayer or something before you start your sessions?
I pray every day. I pray all throughout the day, constantly. I even have prayer cards in my car. No, I can't speak for Mark, but he just assumes he's stronger than anything, and for the fact that he was an altar boy, that's enough for him. He doesn't have to talk to God.
All right, that's not true.
Well, I mean,
what I would say is I am not as diligent at protecting myself as I should be. I think we preach a good, I'll say for myself, I preach a good game about how protection is the most important thing, but I don't practice as well as I preach. I don't protect myself as well as I should.
And
I'm paying a price for that.
It's funny too because there's a prayer for the souls in purgatory. I usually bring I get a whole bunch of blessed cards. I'll pray for the souls. I'll hide it somewhere in the location, and I'll let them know that it's there. They can read it when they can, if they can see it. And whenever I say that prayer, I'm saying it for them as well. And sometimes I feel like I pray for the dead more than I pray for myself, But I mean, I do think that it certainly can't hurt. And if it can't hurt, why not do it? And, I have a little bobble Jesus in my car. Every time I start my car, I make them bobble and I say, show me a sign. And I'll be darned that if I don't pull up behind a car that says Angel number 1 on the license plate or something. I've yet to be, I pray to St. Jude. He has never let me down yet.
Wow. Do you ever hear voices with your own ears?
Oh my God, it is so weird you said that.
We did this morning.
This morning. And, it's kind of strange. We've been slowing down on drinking. Actually, we kind of stopped drinking we're getting nothing done and all this. So what's really weird is I started, the first day I think, I closed my eyes and sometimes I'll see these faces and they'll be looking right at me but through my eyelids and I'm not sleeping. And I can describe them and it's happened to Mark too. And sometimes they'll be staring at you or sometimes it'll be like a photograph. But so that happened so badly that I couldn't sleep the first night.
Wow.
Just weird stuff. It's like second day I go to Subway and I got the sandwich. And I had never seen spinach in Subway. So I said, well, make it the way you make it because the guy said it was his favorite sandwich. So he goes and grabs the spinach and puts it on there. I had never seen that before. And it was just like I was zoning in. Like I had so much more clarity. Now this morning, we're awake. We knew we had your show. Alarm went off. We had to get up. So I hear Mark take a breath. We're both awake. In him exhaling, I hear, I hate
was
This
that?
is, I hear, I hate you. And it wasn't Mark. It was just a voice in his exhaling.
Oh
Now,
my
if he hears something, he heard the same thing. And, I know because it was so weird. It was like, I said, it was so out there. It wasn't like clairaudient, like it was from the inside out. It was like I had to ask him, did you just hear that?
Oh my
And he was like, no. Then you can say yours, but don't say it in that way.
Well, no, I heard,
And this is after me.
right, I heard something different, and I don't hear like that. I just don't. I don't have that ability. I mean, when you're in a haunted location, yeah, okay,
Disembodied voices,
you'll
but it
hear
wasn't like that.
right.
Because
It was
I
a
didn't hear
whisper.
his, and he didn't hear mine.
Right, and it was a whisper that I heard, and it was a female, and
It was spooky.
yeah,
Oh,
I probably
wow.
shouldn't say what it said, but I clearly heard it, and it was like 30 seconds after Debbie heard what she heard, because I turned to Debbie and I say, "What did you just say?" And she said, "I didn't say anything." And but I clearly heard
Right.
a female whisper something in my ear that I
And
probably
it's
shouldn't repeat.
really funny too, because if the one spirit hates me and says this to him, it's almost like there's a female spirit that hates me and is jealous of me and wants him. It's icky.
Wow.
I don't want to say incubus or anything, but it did cross my mind.
I think we're just in a process of regaining more clarity in our lives. I think, because like Debbie was saying, we'll have a couple glasses of wine at night and stuff like that, and we're kind of slowing down with that. And I think there's clarity coming back, and it's making it easier for them to come through to us.
Oh.
But I think, I'm sorry to interrupt you. My thoughts are, and this was told to us by a shaman, when you drink, that's the crack that the evil ones come in with. And so, it's not only that, we're just so overloaded with work, and, I want to get focused, get back. New Year's came, I made my resolutions, and I'll tell you, we're really getting a lot of stuff done now. We've already organized 2 conferences since New Year's, and I mean, the ball's rolling. I want to get to the point where we do an event and people can actually see the event. Like, we do Pennhurst. Where's the EVP from that? Well, go on our website, and here's how you get to Pennhurst if you want to get there. And, we have so many goals. And
it's easy to get overloaded.
But what I realized was, all psychicness really is to me is being aware. Mm-hmm. So the more you do things that, make you less aware, the less psychic you are. And, I noticed immediately as soon as that got out of my system, it's like, I'm aware of everything now, and I don't know if that's the case for him too, but, maybe it's making the negative spirits in the house mad. Oh, now we don't have a vehicle. Now we don't have a way in. What do? Okay, well, I'll tell her I hate her, and I'll tell him stuff like this. And, you just don't know what you're dealing with. But at the same token, we had 2 spirits in the house the other night. We asked their name. One said, "Hi, I'm Pete." The other one said, "It's David."
Yeah.
I mean, clearly. Now, whether they're lying and sneaky or, they could be lying, we don't know. We could be talking back and forth, or I could be a sweet little girl, I need help. Well, I've learned my lesson there. I'm not trusting any kids anymore.
Oh, what happened? What happened?
Well, I mean, we were at, I don't know if I should say the hospital. It was kind of on the cover of the Eagles album.
No, it was a psychiatric hospital.
And what it was we were in the autistic kids wing. And my heart just went out to them. They treated them like prisoners. There was a nurse's station, and there was one of those mirrors and a very small window. Uh-huh. And that is the only communication this child had. Oh. It was worse than a prisoner. And I could feel rows of kids just coming around me. And I almost started crying, and I never do this, but I said, you know what? You want to come home with me? The car's out there. If you guys can fit, you come home. And I think that could have been a very big mistake, because I think not only did kids come home, or pretending to be kids, but, other people, once you invite somebody for a free ride, you don't know who you're taking home.
Oh my God.
But it was just at that moment, I was so my heart was just broken, and I was just like, come on in, they sure did. And I'm not saying sometimes you don't get, I think at the Queen Mary one time, everybody says they got Jackie. Whether or not the spirit pretending to be Jackie, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there was a time where I was in the office downstairs right after returning, and I hear, Ma? And I'm like, my daughter's not up. And then I thought, well, the other one's not even home. And, at the point we weren't getting along, and she wouldn't have said, oh, hi, Mom. I'm like, whoa, that was a child.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, but clearly, like anybody
Wow.
that was home could have heard it. So
Wow.
it's really weird. When you don't do one thing, it seems like they choose another vehicle.
Uh-huh.
Either you're aware, okay, and you have these four roads: clear thought, clear sight, clear hearing, or just all knowing. And okay, this road's blocked off. Well, then I'll take that route.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they are definitely in charge of the way that they choose to come through to us, whether it's EVP or disembodied voice or an apparition. I mean, they're making the decisions.
Do you have any advice for those viewers out there that want to start doing EVPs or have better EVP sessions?
I would say just, first of all, your hearing is imperative. Go to different sites, listen to other people's EVP. Just, get an ear for it. Put on, full, what do you call those?
The full
earmuffs,
yeah.
Headphones. Listen, just keep listening. Listen to your own stuff. Use a control recorder. Use a really clear recorder while you're recording. Don't leave the room. My Lord, don't contaminate the room. Do not whisper. I like to play mine back right then and there. Write down what, recorder I got it on, what number it was, if it was very good, lock it. But, get into the swing of recording, seeing if you get a yes or no. Don't start out with full sentences and then say, okay, I heard that yes. Now, let me ask you another question. And tell them, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to answer. Whether or not you have a sense of time, okay, so we'll get used to this rhythm. Okay, I'm going to talk, you're going to talk, and I just kind of hold the recorder out there. I tell them about the red light's on, this is when I can hear you, and listen back. But whatever you think you hear, even if you don't get it, just, I think you said the word silver. Was I correct? And then ask them again. And then they'll kind of get used to that pattern. Even if they have no sense of time, they see you doing this, and then they see you doing this.
Oh.
So they're kind of, okay, that's my cue. I can talk into that red light.
Wow. That's awesome. Thanks. Hey, Debbie and Mark, it was just so awesome to talk to you tonight. Would you please give them your website and then also talk about some of the events that you have going? I know you're hosting your own events now, and you have 2 upcoming ones.
We have one coming up in about 3 weeks. It's going to be at the Glen Tavern Inn, and it includes a room, a dinner, a lecture. We also have a price if you don't want, to stay in the Glen Tavern. It's going to be with us. This guy, Chad Lindbergh, famous freaking actor. He's been in Fast and Furious. He's been Ash on Supernatural. We're going to have Jason Gates from Haunted Collector. We're going to have David Oman from the Manson Murder House. And we're going to have Amy Goodwin Tremble, Aaron's sister. So these people have just been added to the banner. In fact, they're not even up on the banner yet. But that's going to be, there's still some seats left on the second floor. Yeah. We have 2 of the haunted rooms rented out. And that's going to be March 16th.
No, February 16th and 17th. And like Debbie was saying, included in the price of the ticket is your hotel room for 2 nights and a dinner, buffet style dinner on Sunday.
And a lecture. And then you get to meet Chad Lindbergh, Jason Gates, you get to meet them all.
It's just going to be good. It's going to be a good time.
And
awesome.
Then also, I'm very excited. This has not even been posted yet, but we are going to be doing the Alexa Axe Murder House, and that's going to be August 23rd and 24th. So mark your calendars. I am so pleased to say Chris Dedman is going to be on board, and he's one of the nicest people in the field, and also Johnny Hauser.
Oh, awesome.
So we're really excited about that.
That's awesome. And your website again for everybody?
www.spirits-speak.com. And we call our conferences con-cons. So you can go right on the homepage and you can see the banners. You can click on a banner or give you the itinerary and so everything.
Yeah, and if anybody's interested, the tickets aren't on sale yet, but I do have a waiting list going. So you can just email me through the site and I'll save you a ticket.
Well, that's for Valeska.
It's for both. I mean,
Awesome.
he's an Aquarius. He likes to get stuff. Okay.
Awesome. Hey, everybody, Debbie and Mark, stay with me. We're going to be, and all the viewers, don't go away. I'm going to be contacting Tim Wood, owner of the Haunted Wells House. Mark and Debbie will be doing a remote EVP session with Tim at the haunted house. This is going to be so awesome. So stay with us. Don't go away. Debbie and Mark, don't go away. We'll be right back. Just 1 second. Thanks, everybody.